What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be filming a chest and tricep push sort of session. If I'm honest, I'm going to sort of run with what feels good. It's the first proper session in the garage gym, and so based on what we've got with equipment, we might slightly manipulate it. It is generally going to be a chest and tricep focus push day. At the moment, I'm coupling a lot of my shoulder work into other sessions, and so I do almost free up most of this session for chest and tri, but there will still be exercises like a cuff lateral in there, just to sort of get some additional frequency and volume into those lateral delts. We will be targeting our anterior delt primarily through incline work. There will be no straight overhead work. If you're interested in why that's the case, I'm more than happy to explain the rationale to the Instagram that's on the screen. But we're just sat down with Pri at the moment. In here we've got 100 grams of baby rice, recently just up from 75. 30 grams of Perform Whey in white chocolate flavour, 10 grams of Biscoff just for the flavouring, and then 20 grams of 85% plus dark chocolate, 85% cacao Tesco one, and then about 3 grams of pink Himalayan sea salt. So that'll be Pri. It's getting washed down with the white at the moment because Cam's had the last yellow monster down here and I'm out of Fiestas. So white monster going down, that'll be Pri. We'll see you in the garage. Okay, so this is how we're going to be structuring the session. Now, each individual exercise is in the position that it's in for a specific reason. So once again, like everything in this video, if you want to know any more information or the rationale behind the selection, I'm more than happy to explain it to the Instagram, which is once again on the screen. We're going to be starting off with the cuff line lateral. This is because this will give us an opportunity to put 100% into both the cuff lateral and the D-handle single arm lateral later in the session, because if you couple them both together, one after the other, the productivity of that second exercise is going to be vastly reduced. So having it as a pre-fatiguer to the barbell bench press is where I deem it most appropriate in this session. The compound for me, obviously my powerlifting background, is going to be a flat barbell press. It's a single AMRAP tonight. I'm working in a current powerlifting block where this session will see me take 140 kilos for an AMRAP, aiming for sort of a minimum of 9, if I'm honest. 8 last week, so that's what we've got to be. High incline dumbbell, that's what I was referring to in terms of my anterior delt work. We're going to do no direct overhead work. I find that I can get more than sufficient hypertrophy of the anterior delts through high incline work. So we'll take a top step, back off step there. Similarly with the dip, we will load the dip, whether this is either with a band over or whether this will be with a belt and a plate swinging. That will be something that we'll decide based on the setup that we've got here. But we will be loading the top step, back off step there. 2 sets of 10 to 15 with a D-handle fly on the cable stack. Then we will have the single arm lateral, which we'll just bring down to lean up and get 1 cable going. Skull crushers with dumbbells, and then we will have a rope push down rest pause set where we will have 3 failure points with aiming for 15 reps on the first set. So let's get straight into this. I'll touch on a few key cues throughout each exercise. A warm-up is very, very independent, and you have to do what you want to do to set you up for the session. So I do a lot of things that are simply in there anecdotally. So for example, I still do static stretching. The literature supports that actually that's fairly useless. If you're going to stretch, the literature generally supports that we do dynamic stretching. But for me, that makes me feel a bit better, and so I include it. And so I think that you have to take that and run with that across the board. If you want to go for a walk, go for a walk. If you want to do some bands, do some bands. But for me, a protocol that I like to use is known as a ramp warm-up. So we raise the heart rate, activate, mobilize, and potentiate. So for me, I'll generally do a few sort of injury prevention things. So I'll work my subscapularis with internal and external rotations, because for me, that's quite a compromised area. I'll do some spinal decompression where I just hang. I may even throw the gravity boots on and hang upside down. If I had a reverse hyper, I'd do that. And then beyond there, it's generally just some activation. So a couple of flies, a couple of banded push downs, great for the accommodating resistance aspect in terms of loading blood flow with minimal tendon loading. But with a warm-up, I think that you have to just do very independent exercises that you find help you get prepared for the session. Into lateral delts.
Never small. твой близко палач, сука. Ноги водили меня по пятам старых злых душ. See lately, I've been thinking, just in the audio, I feel you, my people still in the streets. So I'm only rapping. Suffering, sketchy government, evil, illegal. You see me stuttering, deceiving people with shootings lethal. Deserve an electric chair or needle, but that wouldn't bring the people back to those innocent families grieving. That take the voice of the people seriously, need justice immediately. Flats, councils, tracks, councils, please look around you, look where they house you. What the fuck you think's gonna happen? What the fuck you think I'm tracking when they think I'm rushing? Had a mask before they said 2 meters, whacking a pot petrol 2 liters. How we had minimal choice.
Top set on the bench, single AMRAP set. Took 140, minimum was 9, which we got. Really close on the 10th. I believe you said it might have been 11. I think it was 9, I failed on the 10th. I don't know why, I haven't just watched the video and checked. But yeah, so we just missed that. I don't know what goes on with me. For my right arm is so much weaker than my left, which doesn't really make sense. But I just couldn't seem to get it in the rack. So we'll count that as 9 and we'll come back again with 9 to beat next session. On to high incline dumbbell today. Now, sorry. Top set, back off set here, taking the 42s because I'm in a pretty fatigued state. And this, with it being quite a high incline, will be fairly sort of bang on.
I might just hit it raw, hold on, that's on my element. I like dark skins, love a melanin, heart crushing Louis Vuitton. When I'm stepping in, 30 bottles of the zoo till I'm sentiment. I had the Lambo, switch to the Rory. I'm a gangster, but I like to party. Pop a perky, go retarded. I'm a Brooklyn nigga, I'm cold-hearted. That's why I like the bad girl, like Riri. Every time she see me, she wanna eat me. I saw like Justin Bieber, please believe me. I said, wow, I'm on the TV. I can't fuck with broke bitches, they be creepy. She be acting up, she always tryna leave me. But she a bad girl, and she freaky. I have her hanging off the wall like she mean me. I never had a...
My subscapularis is naturally quite susceptible to aggravation, and so where I can, I'll try and limit that. And for me, dips is something that is okay until I start to load it. And so I would rather take a set to failure and then load more of the loading into other sets, if that makes sense, on different exercises. So for me, I'll just take 1 to 2 sets here to failure, and that'll be it for the dip.
Remember my money, remember my pockets flat, now they chunky. I ain't a pretty boy, but I ain't ugly. And I'll take your bitch in a second. If she a real one, then I'll protect it. Traded the AP, told my jeweler protect it. And it's all BBS and flower settings. I might just hit it raw, hold on, that's on my element. I like dark skins, love a melanin, heart crushing Louis Vuitton. When I'm stepping in, 30 bottles of the zoo till I'm sentiment. I had the Lambo, switch to the Rory. I'm a gangster, but I like to party. Pop a perky, go retarded. I'm a Brooklyn nigga, I'm cold-hearted.
Rest pause set to finish off tries today. A little intensity technique just to sort of drive the intensity up at the latter stages, and almost a bit of a finisher for the tries. Plenty of different ways you could do this, drop sets, giant sets. One that I actually really like, and I'll show you over here, is the occlusion bands, because we can restrict blood flow, which obviously is going to drive the intensity much higher. But there are plenty of techniques that we can use here. We can use rest pause sets, drop sets you're probably familiar with, giant sets. There are so many different ways that you can apply intensity, whether you've got equipment or not, because these intensity techniques can be used whether it's on a cable stack or whether it's on a band. You know, you can pick these up for a 10 quid, you can pick a band up for 10 quid. And so really there is no way that you are limited by equipment in terms of driving intensity in your session. And that was it for the session. The session is on the screen here. Pause the video, take a screenshot, go and try it out. I don't want to go too in depth. I just sort of wanted to show you my push day with a little bit of direction, a little bit of a rationale to that structure. Of course, as I said earlier in the video, my Instagram's on the screen. So if you've got any questions, then please just shoot them over. Thank you very much for watching. We will see you in the next video.